Welcome to Reparations Roundup News and Views with the incredible Nikichi Taifa, featuring current updates and historical tidbits on the reparations movement in the U.S. and worldwide. Taifa is authentic and unapologetic, captivating and charismatic, entertaining and witty, and one of the most knowledgeable and longest-serving experts on the issue of reparations in the country. Now here's your host, award-winning author and attorney, Nikichi Taifa.
Wow, greetings. Harvard University just issued a report, Harvard and the Legacy of Slavery, showing that the institution enslaved over 70 people, and it has issued a list of findings and remedies. And I just want to go through some of the report's key findings for you for a moment. It's all over the internet. It's all over the news. You know, y'all, reparations is truly an issue whose time has come. I always talk about academic institutions and universities and religious institutions and government, local, state, federal government, and corporations and industries, private estates. Well, it is time. Reparations and issues time has come. So some of the key findings from the Harvard report is that slavery of indigenous and African people was an integral part of the life of Massachusetts and at Harvard during the colonial era. Now, that's no surprise because, you know, my colleague, Katrina Brown, did this film called Traces of the Trade, where she documented that her family, white New England, was the largest slave trading family in U.S. history, bringing just countless numbers of Black folk over here. And she basically said that the whole town, we're talking about New England town, Massachusetts, lived off of slavery. She documented it and documented those roots. So it wasn't a surprise to me that Harvard came out with that finding. Another finding, between the university's founding in 1636 and the end of slavery in 1783 in the Commonwealth, that Harvard faculty, staff, and leaders enslaved more than 70 individuals whose names are listed in Appendix 1. And some of those names were like names that you would name your pet, little pet names, you know, it's like first names only, first name, nickname only. And then you think about, well, they identified about 79 individuals. How many more never made it into the books? How many more were never identified? This is part of the harm. This is part of the injury. It said that some of the enslaved worked and lived on campus where they cared for Harvard presidents and professors and fed generations of Harvard students. Now, I remember there was another university, it was either University of Virginia or somewhere in Virginia down south, where there was a proviso that said to the white students who were coming to college during that time, you could come to college, but you got to leave your slaves at home. So what did that say? That said that there was a tradition of bringing the enslaved people with them even to college. So it didn't mention here at Harvard about students bringing their enslaved there to care for them, but it talked about those who cared for the presidents of Harvard and the professors, and also fed the generations of Harvard students. I mean, how much do we not know? How much is left to be uncovered? How many more caskets must we open? Another finding, through connections to multiple donors, the university had extensive financial ties to and profited from slavery during the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. So a whole lot of findings. I'm just going to skip around. The university today memorializes benefactors with ties to slavery across campus through statues, buildings, professorships, student housing, and the like. Oh my goodness. Woo. Take a deep breath here. Among Harvard's vast museum collections are the remains, the body parts of thousands of individuals. Many of these human remains are thought to belong to indigenous people, and at least 15 are indigenous individuals of African descent who may have been enslaved, 2 of which also had indigenous ancestry. People, who gonna pay reparations on my soul? I harken back to that song. I think that was either Gil Scott-Heron or Oscar Brown Jr., I forget which. But anyway, legacies of slavery persisted at Harvard and throughout American society after the Constitution and laws officially proscribed human bondage. Such legacies, including racial segregation, exclusion, and discrimination, were part of campus life well into the 20th century. Oh my God. The findings go on and on and on. But when we have findings, then we have repair, we have atonement. And there are 7 recommendations that the committee made to Harvard, all of which were adopted. And those recommendations are: number 1, engage and support descendant communities by leveraging Harvard's excellence in education. Recommendation 2, honor enslaved people through memorialization, research, curriculum, and knowledge dissemination. Recommendation 3, develop enduring partnerships with Black colleges and universities. Recommendation number 4, identify, engage, and support direct descendants. Recommendation number 5, honor, engage, and support Native communities. Recommendation 6, establish an endowed legacy of slavery fund to support the university's reparative efforts. And recommendation number 5, ensure institutional accountability. Those are all great recommendations. But, I don't know, maybe I'm not looking at it very carefully. Something missing, y'all. Something very key to the whole reparatory justice atonement process is missing from Harvard's well thought out, I think it's almost 100-page report. And that is the issue of an apology. Apology. Where's the apology, y'all? Apology. Where's the apology for these abuses, which you have acknowledged, which you have uncovered, and which you have dedicated to continued study and to make amends for? Where is the apology? Part of legitimate reparatory justice amends is that of apology. And I might say an unfettered apology, because the United States federal government, the Senate and the House of Representatives, each issued bills apologizing for slavery. The Senate bill, however, said you cannot use this apology to support any claim for reparations, so that didn't go anywhere. So Harvard, I challenge you. Maybe it was just an oversight on my part in terms of just, at this point, just really skimming through the report. Or maybe it just ain't there. So if it is there, someone pointed out to me, and if it's not there, let's go back to the drawing board and insert that very, very critical missing element, the apology. Again, this is Nkechi Taifa. Check out the Reparation Education Project, reparationeducationproject.org. And let's continue the journey, the very necessary task of amends from the enslavement era that lasts all the way down through to today. Thank you.
You have been listening to Reparations Roundup News and Views with People's Lawyer Nkechi Taifa. The issue of reparations is on fire, and Taifa is spreading the message like a storm. Visit reparationseducationproject.org for info on the movement. For the full Nkechi Taifa experience, visit nkechitaifa.org. Reparations is an issue whose time has come. Don't miss the next Reparations Roundup.